Hi, and welcome to a new episode of UTD Scuba Diving TV. A new reel? Let me show you how to prep it, carry it, and use it. All within 5 minutes. Can I make it? We got a brand new one here. When you get a brand new one, we usually need to prep it. In this case, it comes with a loop that is actually big enough for the whole spool, so you'd be tempted just to use it. Because what we want to do is we want to create a loop this size, big enough so the spool can easily pass through, and we want to make sure that the beginning of the line is tied correctly to the spool. And this is what's going to take the most amount of time, because we need to unwind it all, check if it's correct, and then wind it all in. Okay, you walk that way, I walk this way. It's the instructor's prerogative to not do so much walking. Yep. And there you have it. Now we are at the end, and as you can see, this is not what we want. We want an exact same loop at the end as we do in the beginning, so that if you ever come into a situation where you have to extend this reel, you have the same loop and it's easy to tie another reel to. Make a loop like this big enough the reel can go pass through, a figure 8 knot. That's the beauty of these sidewinder reels, because we can pass the whole thing through after we've made it. So I can make this loop like this. Now it's going to be perfectly tied, and this whole thing will go through, pass it around the spindle, and pull it tight. And now, if you can see closely here, this end is going to pull onto that line, and if I keep it a little bit tight in the beginning, it's going to not slip. Now in this particular reel, they've roughed up the center of the spindle, which actually helps with a little bit of traction on the line. So now all we need to do is wind everything back up. I'll just keep with a little bit of tension on my finger, just lightly, so especially in the start it packs up nice and tight, and then you make sure that the reel or the line is evenly distributed on the spin, so you don't get one big fat lump in the middle and nothing on the sides. Yeah, now almost done. Great. Now we just have to adjust this little loop with an extra small loop in the front called a woody, and for ease of use we'll put a little bit of tubing. I took an old low pressure hose and took a little piece off. Okay, so what you need is that little piece of like old hose, just something that can stop the line from coming through when you wind it up again, and not something that's so big that's going to be entangled, but this is going to really be a great help, especially when you use these reels with thick gloves in cold water. So in that center part here we want to add this one, so thread it on, and then we tie a knot just below this part. Just like that. And then we go and tie this one off. Then we use a pair of scissors. Now what we can do is weld it together, so we burn it and then use the side of your lighter to push that melted piece of string into the nut. There we go. And now when we wind it up, it just sits there and nestles in to that little ribbon. Now purists can sometimes omit this one and take that little woody and put it around the stump here. That's also very nice, but it makes for a lot easier an operation adding this little thing to the beginning. Lock it, and now put the double ender back. Now we come to the part on how do you carry it. Part number 2. The double ender has a gate, and the opening of the gate should always point away from the reel. That way it'll never come undone. If you take the double ender and clip it with the gate towards the reel, it's very easy for the double ender to get unclipped, and that you can lose your spool or your reel. So gate away, and now we have to carry it on our dive. We can carry it in 2 spots. Some divers like to put it on the butt D-ring. I don't like that. I don't prefer it. It's hard to reach back there, especially with short arms like mine. Plus I don't like the feeling of this hanging in between my buttocks and I'm swimming. So personally I carry it either on my hip D-ring, just beside my SPG, if I'm maybe use it or maybe not use it on that dive, but probably will use it. If I'm for sure gonna use it, I'm gonna either clip it off to my chest D-ring on the left hand side, because then when I get down into the water and need to do a primary tie off, I can just easily get it. If I'm wearing stages, I'm gonna actually put it on the eyelet of the top stage clip. We use a reel like this, it's to mark our position and to give us a guideline to where we want to go. So in case of cave diving, it's usually used to go from open water into the cave until you reach the main line, and you tie off to the main line, and from there on you use the system lines. It can be used on a wreck. If the visibility is really bad, you can navigate your way around the wreck and making sure you can reach back towards the anchor line or where you exit. So a couple of simple rules. Do not tie off to an anchor line. Tie off in the vicinity, like in a arm's width away. And if you tie off to the cave main line, make sure you leave a little bit of room for other teams to also tie off. And obviously during our wreck or cave classes, you will learn all about how to place the line and where to tie and how to tie off. And there you have it, a quick little tip on how to set up, how to carry, and how to use your reel in scuba diving. So I hope that makes sense. Obviously during our classes we'll go much more in depth on these things, and maybe we see you out there. And remember, stay sharp.